I have not personally witnessed this in real life. I'm not dodging pranksters at Target. I haven't been ambushed by a ring light. No one has asked me invasive questions for views. And no one has pretended to faint in front of me for a social experiment. And I want to be really clear about that because people tend to hear criticism and assume it's from personal experience, and it's not. This is not a story about how I was traumatized by a TikToker in the cereal aisle. It's about what I see online constantly. Different people, same behavior, same captions, same comment sections debating whether this is confidence or disrespect. And after a while, something subtle happens. You start to anticipate it. You walk into a store or a public space of any kind and you're like, okay, don't want to be the background noise of somebody's weird video. Not because anything has ever happened to you personally, but because you've seen it happen hundreds of times on your phone. That's the weird part. The behavior feels familiar even though it's never happened to you in your actual life. And that's what we're talking about today, how TikTok makes public chaos feel universal, even when it's not, and how that illusion is so convincing. TikTok has an incredible ability to take something that's relatively rare and make it feel unavoidable. You scroll and you see somebody doing a social experiment in public. You scroll again and you see another one. Different city, different creator, same tone, same awkwardness. And eventually your brain stops processing these as individual videos. They blur together into a pattern. And once something feels like a pattern, your brain treats it like it's normal. And that's not because it is normal, that's because repetition rewires perception. Your brain isn't built to understand scale. It doesn't keep track of how many people exist in the world versus how many videos you've seen. It just knows, I've seen this a lot. So even if it's 1 in a million people behaving this way, if TikTok shows you 50 versions of it in a row, your brain fills in the gaps and assumes this is just how people act in public spaces now. And then you go outside and everyone is quiet. People are standing in line, staring at their phones, apologizing when somebody bumped into them, even though that person bumped into them first. No one is performing, no one is narrating, nobody's staging content. And that disconnect is unsettling because that means the chaos lives almost entirely on your screen. But somehow it still changes how you feel about the real world. The reason this illusion works is simple. TikTok does not reward normal behavior. No one is going viral for waiting their turn. No one's getting millions of views for being polite in public. There's no trending audio for I went to the grocery store and nothing happened. Normal behavior is invisible to the algorithm. It doesn't trigger comments, it doesn't spark arguments, and it doesn't keep people watching. Disruption does that. So TikTok very quickly learns what kind of content gets engagement and then serves that to you over and over and over again. And creators learn too. If a slightly awkward video performs well, then the next video has to be even more awkward, even more loud, even more intrusive, more uncomfortable because escalation is how you stay visible on social media. That's how you end up with the same scenarios repeated endlessly. Same pranks, the same questions, the same public stunts, just with different faces in different locations. It's not that everyone suddenly forgot how to act in public. It's that TikTok filters out everyone who does know how to act in public and spotlights the few who don't. So, I have made a list of the different archetypes, the different types of people that disrupt the public to go viral on the internet. So these are the archetypes that I have come up with. This isn't just most people. This isn't even most creators. This is just the type of creators that TikTok loves to amplify. So first we have the social experiment scientist. This person frames everything as research. They're always asking strangers deeply personal or hypothetical questions and framing it as an experiment. Like, what would you do if your Uber driver confessed their love for you? Or would you date me for $10,000? But nothing is being tested. There's no control group, there's no hypothesis. There's just a stranger being put on the spot with a camera in their face. And the reactions are always the same: confusion, polite discomfort, or somebody just trying to awkwardly leave. That's not insight, that's just what happens when you interrupt somebody's day. What's quite interesting is how quickly these videos get cut off before somebody gets genuinely annoyed. Because the goal isn't honesty, it's to capture just enough discomfort to be entertaining without clear rejection. Next, we have the prankster who targets workers. This one is specifically hard to watch. They almost exclusively target retail workers, fast food employees, service workers, people who are literally being paid to stay put and be polite. The prank only works because the person can't walk away. And when the person that is being pranked looks uncomfortable or doesn't laugh, the comment section usually turns on them. Why are they so sensitive? They're just miserable. It's not that deep. But it is that deep because there's a power imbalance. The person filming has freedom, and the person being filmed has their job on the line. That's not comedy, that's using somebody's lack of options as content. Next, we have the main character monologue, which I find very, very cringy. This person treats public space as their personal diary in filming studio. They're narrating their life out loud, they're filming story times, they're crying in the airport, and vulnerability isn't the issue. People are allowed to have emotions. The issue is treating shared space like a private studio. Public spaces work because everyone agrees to some certain level of neutrality. Once one person turns it into a performance, everyone around is unwillingly background noise. Next, we have the boundary pusher. This archetype thrives on discomfort, really. They stand too close, they ask personal questions, they ignore very clear social cues. And they do it deliberately because the reaction is the product. If someone looks annoyed, that's engagement. If someone pushes back, that's content. The goal isn't connection or curiosity. It's to provoke a response that's strong enough to clip and post. Next, we have the confidence cosplayer. This person defends everything by calling it confidence. People just hate confident people. But confidence doesn't require disruption. Confidence doesn't demand attention from strangers. What's being framed as empowerment is often just performance. Loud, intrusive, and inconsiderate behavior being packaged as self-love. The reason why all of this feels so overwhelming is frequency. You're not seeing one person act this way. You're seeing dozens, if not hundreds, back to back. Your brain takes that repetition and kind of just turns it into a narrative of this is just how people are now. But when you step outside, reality does not match that story, which means that this anxiety is not coming from lived experience. It's coming from exposure without context. TikTok removes proportion. It shows you the loudest group on repeat without reminding you how small that group actually is. And without proportion, that chaos just feels like the norm. TikTok doesn't have taste, it has metrics. It doesn't care if a video is annoying or invasive or uncomfortable. It cares whether people stop scrolling. So awkward videos get pushed, boundary crossing videos get rewarded, and extreme behavior gets copied over and over. And over time, creators learn that the fastest way to gain attention is escalation. A few people behaving badly end up dominating your feed. Suddenly, it feels like they represent everybody. And they don't, they're just the most visible. All of these archetypes share one thing: a complete lack of embarrassment. An internal voice that says, maybe don't post this. They don't have that. Embarrassment used to be a social regulator. It stopped people from oversharing, overstepping, turning everything into a performance. But embarrassment doesn't go viral. Audacity does. And once audacity is rewarded, the behavior accelerates. Here's the grounding truth. Most people still know how to act in public. Most people are quiet and polite and forgettable in the best way. Most public interactions are boring. TikTok just doesn't show those people. It shows the weirdest 1% on a loop and calls that culture. And if you remember that, a lot of anxiety fades. So maybe the problem isn't that nobody knows how to act in public anymore. Maybe it's that TikTok keeps rewarding the same small group of people who treat public space like content farms. And if you've never seen this behavior in real life, but you feel like you've seen it everywhere online, you're not crazy. Your algorithm just loves mess. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below which archetype shows up on your For You page the most. And please, don't be one of them.